Test, test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's showtime. So, hello everybody. My name is Kanushia. Some of this is going to be, slapdash edited so that it's clear and concise for everybody. This is a general tutorial for capture cards because a lot of people in the streaming group, Goats and Boats, that I am a part of, are just now being able to get their capture cards. And for me, I know that it was a hurdle to jump over once I got mine. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for everyone to understand so that we can all come together and you guys can hopefully come to appreciate at least the sentiment behind this tutorial. So, for the most part, I know that not everybody is going to get the same capture card. A lot of the other ones come up with complicated instructions because those are direct in the packaging instructions that you need to follow, and that's all there is to it. There's no other way of getting it. But for me, and for at least one other person that I know that I'm making this tutorial for, his name is Iceman Prime, I suggest the HD60 Elgato, and it is a simple plug and play 2-port HDMI recorder. Keep in mind that you won't be able to record anything that is AV. So the red, yellow, and white, you'll have to get a component switcher to basically change the adapter from those into an HDMI, and then you can record it. And you cannot record, I don't know about the Xbox 360, but I know you can't record the PS3 because it is hard-coded into it to give the HDMI cords HDCP, which is a copyright protection basically, so that you can't just stream it wherever, I guess. And it was mostly so that you couldn't just pirate it with the HD graphics. You had to figure out some other way of doing it. And so I'm not going to go through the tedious process of explaining all of that just because it involves so many more things that I decided not to buy because it's just a lot more money. And even then, some of those methods don't work anymore. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go into the HD60 tutorial. So, with the HD60 in hand, if I remember correctly, in the box, it comes with this little cord, which has a USB end with this little doohickey on it, which is nice, and USB end with that style connector. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is have the PC that you're going to be streaming from, you're going to basically you're going to plug the smaller end into one end of the HD60. You'll notice that on that end it says in, and there is an analog port, an HDMI port, and the port for this. So analog port is if you have a single analog audio, something like let's see, I think I've actually got it in here. Basically, what it is I don't know exactly where I put it, but what I've got is the red and white connectors. They basically go down to a single connector that feeds into that. And so it's really simple and easy to use. But that's not what we're here for. What we're here for is to explain the HD60. So basically, if you have a red and white and you plug it into the back of the TV and that side comes out and you have the analog and say you don't want to it's basically so that you can capture analog audio into HD and it automatically encodes. By the way, before you have your HD60 at all, what I would recommend is to have the software that comes free from the Elgato website, and I would suggest at least the HD game capture program, because that will make a lot of the later, when we're in the next tutorial and I'm explaining how to get OBS set up with the HD60 so that you can have overlays that you can switch between and everything like that. That's going to be what the next video is, and it's going to be much easier if you have that program already installed. Now, you have this, plug this end, the USB end, into the back of your computer. If you don't, you will not get any video to whatever the HDMI out goes to, so generally your TV. And the reason for that is because this, to output, needs power to begin with. So if it isn't powered, it can't turn itself on to allow pass-through. Now, let's see here. So let's say you've already got that set up, and for me, that includes having the HDMI on this end. I don't use analog. It's fine. The HDMI will port through if you're not doing an HDMI setup, or if you are doing an HDMI setup, so something like the PS4 or the Switch will automatically transfer through the audio. So that's not a problem. And then on the other end, the outward end, is the HDMI that leads to your TV. So to give an example of that, I'm going to go ahead and take you guys with me as I explain. So this HDMI cord right here is plugged into the back of my PlayStation 4. So I put that on the end, on the inward end, right beside where I put the other cable earlier. And I know it's a little dark over here, but just bear with me on that. I'll probably edit it in with a graphic or something later if you can't see it. And then on the outward end, you use basically whatever it is that you're going to use to output it to the TV. So for me, that is this HDMI cord. So take it, plug it in. Simple, just like you're plugging in the PlayStation on its own. So you plug that in, and then you plug in the other end to the back of your TV. which I'm going to go ahead and do now because I took it apart to reset and basically explain it to all of you guys. Just give me a moment. Okay. So now that it's plugged in, and I'll go more into depth with this with the software portion of this series. But so, yeah, so now you grab the USB end from the other thing that we plugged in earlier and plug that into the back of your computer. And that'll also give it the HD signal as well as the power so that you can use it as the video capture device it's meant to be. As you may have heard from my desktop audio, there was the little sign saying, yes, this is plugged in. And now we've got this, which is, you know, if you take off my overlay like so, and take off the stream avatars, because, I mean, unless you guys have stream avatars, you're not going to be seeing those. You'll have a 1 moment please screen until you actually turn on the system that you have encoded into it. So for me, currently, that's going to be my PS4. This is going to be in OBS. And what you're going to do is add it in as a video capture device. And you're going to have Game Capture HD by Elgato to use it properly, because that's what it reads all of the encoding as to send forth to OBS. And it's also very low latency, so it's good for streaming with, especially if you're focused on viewer interaction. So let's see. Gonna want your TV on. And then let's see. Hold on a sec, because for some reason it isn't activating automatically like it usually does. It's probably because I just switched it from Switch to PS4. So there we go. As you can see picture. Now, if you are on PS4, let's see, where did I set the controller? There it is. So if you are on PS4, what you're wanting to do before you ever set up the Elgato game capture or the HD60 itself, you're not going to get picture if you don't do this. So before you set anything else up, go into your system, go to settings, and go to, let's see, I believe it was system, yes, and where it has enable HDCP, you're going to want that unchecked, because otherwise the HDCP will be enacted and you won't get any video. So, but as you can see, I've got everything on my PS4 able to show up. And so in the next video, I'll go more into detail about all of the programs and making sure that it's like whatever overlays that you chose are properly setting up, as well as how you can deal with certain settings. So like if you want a sharper image from your Elgato, I'll go through how you can edit those settings and different things like that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and switch on the camera and switch back the overlay so that it looks pretty, and leave you guys at that. So if you have any questions or concerns about any of this, I know it's a lot, especially within a 15-minute period, or well, close to 16 minutes now. But if you have any questions at all, just DM me and I'll be able to walk you through it as much as I can. If you have a different system, like a different capture card, I mean, and you really want to get it together, but you know, for some reason something is different with this, then you can also DM me and I'll look up the instructions for that and figure out how to get it working as much or as easily as I can, so that you don't have to. So, with all of that out of the way, I'm Kanushia, signing off, and until the next episode.